We did not ask for permission to be free. We stood up and claimed it. With those defiant words, Burkina Faso's president, Ibrahim Traoré, set fire to one of the boldest visions Africa has ever witnessed. One government, one African currency, and one passport for an entire continent. This story has never been revealed on mainstream television. It is a national secret now uncovered before your eyes. On that stage, draped in the red, green, and gold of Burkina Faso, and guarded by soldiers who symbolize his rise to power, Traoré did not speak only for his nation, he spoke for all of Africa. His voice carried the weight of a continent longing to break its colonial chains and claim its destiny. The shock was immediate. The crowd in Ouagadougou froze in silence before erupting in cheers. Social media from Lagos to Nairobi to Johannesburg ignited with disbelief and hope. And in Washington, Paris, and Brussels, questions began to swirl. Is Africa about to rewrite the world order? If you believe Africa's awakening has begun, subscribe and stay with us until the very end of this untold story. Behind closed doors, in a private meeting among African heads of state, President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso rose to speak. The room fell silent as he delivered a declaration few expected. Africa must move toward one government, one continental currency called Afro money, and one passport that erases every colonial border. This was no ordinary proposal. It came during a high-level session meant to discuss regional cooperation, but Traoré went far beyond routine diplomacy. He spoke of unity as an urgent reality, not a distant dream. According to those present, he insisted that technical teams are already studying how 54 national currencies could converge into one, how a continental parliament might function, and how citizens from Cape Town to Cairo could carry a single African passport. For the leaders in the room, the words carried weight because the facts are undeniable. Africa is home to more than 1.4 billion people, nearly one-fifth of the world's population. Yet only about 17% of its trade is conducted within the continent itself. The combined gross domestic product of Africa is over $3 trillion United States dollars, but fragmented markets prevent it from reaching its true potential. The median age across the continent is just 19 years, making Africa the youngest region in the world. Yet young workers remain blocked by visa restrictions and unstable currencies. Traoré reminded his peers that he had already taken bold steps, expelling 400 French troops in 2023, rejecting loan packages valued at over $600 million United States dollars from the International Monetary Fund, and forming the alliance of Sahel states with Mali and Guinea. Unlike leaders who speak of unity but never act, he has proven he is willing to defy global powers. When the meeting ended, some presidents privately admitted they were blindsided. No consultations, no gradual roadmap, just a blunt call for continental redesign. For the ordinary people who later heard whispers of this meeting, hope grew quickly. For the political class, however, anxiety spread even faster. And so the world began to realize this was not simply a speech in a private room. It was the spark of something far larger and far more dangerous. When news of Traoré's secret declaration began to circulate, it spread like wildfire, first in whispers among diplomats, then through social media posts from young Africans hungry for change. The idea of a United States of Africa was no longer confined to history books or speeches from the 1960s. It was spoken aloud in the present tense by a leader who had already defied the old order. For ordinary Africans, the emotional impact was immense. In countries like Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa, where millions of young people face unemployment rates as high as 30%, the vision of free movement and one continental market resonated deeply.
Students in Ghana posted videos imagining themselves studying in Cairo or Johannesburg without the burden of expensive visas. Traders in West Africa spoke of selling goods across borders without losing profit to exchange rate swings. Farmers in the Sahel, long trapped by poverty and insecurity, saw a chance at larger markets and shared resources. The symbolism was powerful. Activists invoked the names of Kwame Nkrumah and Thomas Sankara, leaders who once called for unity but never lived to see it realized. Hashtags like One Africa and Afro Money surged across timelines in Ouagadougou. Crowds gathered in front of television screens, some weeping, others chanting in unison, One Africa, One Destiny. The emotional climax was undeniable. For a generation that has lived its entire life under the shadow of borders drawn by colonial rulers, Traoré's words struck like lightning. Yet even in this wave of euphoria, a quiet unease lingered. People began to ask, if the plan is real, who will lead this union, and will the continent's most powerful nations accept it? That uncertainty set the stage for the next wave of reactions. Those from the corridors of power in the diplomatic halls of Africa. Traoré's words landed like a thunderclap. Presidents and ministers from Lagos to Addis Ababa were stunned. Many admitted privately that they had not been consulted. For decades, regional integration had been discussed in careful steps, first economic zones, then gradual visa-free travel. But this, a sudden declaration of one government, one money, one passport, felt less like diplomacy and more like a revolution.